Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listen, to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in, and replay. This is the Vault, episode 678, Private Wealth Tour Recap 2025. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in live, listening, to replay. This is the voice of Trust Christian on the Vault, and just really excited to bring you all some updates over at the Vault. We've done some things recently. Went on a tour, pretty much some different conferences, wealth events, and their private wealth events at that. So really, just gonna give a recap of what people think they're missing. What they could have potentially missed. When you're in the room, you got two ears and one mouth, and so we're not giving up the name of our sources at times anymore. So some people say, "Oh, you're a gatekeeper." It's like, well, we're not interested in people using our name on behalf to be in certain places, and we understand people will do that. So we don't always give up our sources. If people think that's gatekeeper, then now you understand why people are wealthy and why people aren't. Because people that are wealthy gatekeep. We have no interest in dealing with shim-shammers. And a shim-shammer looks very easy. You know, I actually had a meeting today with a advisor, and one thing that we noticed in the meeting and we said to them was, it's interesting that in a wealth environment, when you give your word, it's usually one time. You are held to the expectations and the promises you make. And then you're held to the expectations and the standard that you meet every single time. You're only as good as your last one. That's how it works. Private Wealth Tour Recap 2025. That was one thing that we noticed being in the rooms again. You go to these rooms, they're done on handshake deals. No one wants to hear that. They're in 2025. Oh, Trust Christian, I have to do everything the wrong way. No, you actually need to do things the right way. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. Is that so challenging in 2025? Well, we can clearly identify to you all that the wealthiest people in the room are keeping their word. A lot of people say, "Oh man, there's some snakes in the grass." Ladies and gentlemen, deals get done. That means you kept your word. So, by people not being in environments where they're used to people keeping their word, they're at a loss. It's going to take time to get used to people who say, "Hey, I'm gonna be here," and then they show up. It takes some time to build that trust with people to say, "Hey, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna do this," and keep your word. And this is something that we see and something that we're gonna push. We're gonna continuously push integrity in business because it seems as though people have to understand those things. They have to understand that you can trust people in business. You can give people your word. Another thing that we noticed being on the road is that on a tour is that wealthy people take risk. They take big risks. They bet on themselves every single time. If you're questioning whether you should bet on yourself, you're just questioning your wealth. If you knew you were going to be wealthy if you did the action, would you still take it? So base that action based off of your wealth that you already have in your mind's eye and your heart. And it does take time to have it, but you shall receive. And so when we talk about some of the lessons that we learned in the recap, some of the lessons that we learned is that you want to be prepared. Being prepared is everything, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people think they can half-ass it, and all you're gonna do is just end up failing. So being prepared. That's something that we noticed. The private wealth tour recap, we sit here and we say, "Oh man, so many people say they want to be wealthy." Ladies and gentlemen, sitting in front of some wealthy people recently, it's a sport. And we were talking to someone earlier, it's a game. Being wealthy is a game. Staying wealthy is a game. You turn it into a game so you don't dread the fact that you have to leave your loved ones to make the capital. You don't dread the activities that you have to do to generate the capital. You do it. And it's interesting to see people that don't. Not quite, but that's what it is. So to recap, what does it look like? Well, we're on the road. Sometimes you gotta take risks on yourself, on the company, trust a family estate. They gotta put some cash into investing in your education. First thing we say is we walked into the recap of the tour, focused on education, big time. It's gotta be focused on education. We can always network and have further conversations, but the focus is definitely for networking. Some people say, "Oh, how do you start a conversation?" You compliment people. You, ask them what their name is. If they're at the same function, it's okay to ask them, "Hi, how you doing? What's your name?" So some people say, "Oh man, how do I get in those rooms?" You gotta have a ton of capital. A lot of times, it's about your attitude. Of course, there's shops all over, but at the end of the day, it's about how you treat people too, because they're selling off-brand snacks at those places. So we definitely are thankful that everybody tunes in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. This is Christian at TrustChristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at TrustChristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you. And once again, we're just really thankful that at the end of the day, a lot of people will look at you and say, "What are you doing?" And you have to be able to push through those naysayers. You have to be willing to push through everything that you see in front of you, so you can be the best version of yourself. Definitely appreciate you all because we sit here and we hear so many people say, "Oh, this is the economy. This is the economy." Well, at the end of the day, we sat in a room with the billionaires, the wealth tour recap, and sure, they may have called it as well. At the end of the day, we have to focus on being a professional money manager and making money in any downturn or any upside. The wealth tour recap, the private wealth tour recap shared with us, you got to have multiple sources of income. But how many people hear that and it's just a conversation? It's just, "Oh, how could you? How could you say such a thing?" Private wealth tour, don't you, how much do you have to have? 10 million, 20 million? Okay, let's talk about it. We're literally going to name this episode "Why You Don't Need a Trust." And it's because most people don't have a business mindset for it. They might have put the card in their wallet, but they don't have a business mindset. Everything needs to be business, not personal. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody. This was one of those tours that we went on. You always have to bet big on your family and yourself. And you gotta make it a point to get the education that you need for your family estate. We saw a lot of investments. One thing we did see is we saw some people working like the vault and some verticals that were competitive in nature and light. And so, by that being the case, we could turn the vault into a true investment platform. But the main thing right now is to focus on making sure that we still have continuous trustees coming through, so they can never go down in history and say, "Oh no, Trust Christian, that information didn't work for me." Now you didn't work for the information because we have tons of examples that it worked for them. Job and business owner. So look forward to connecting with you all. Christian at TrustChristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at TrustChristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all. The business is going great right now. We're on a tour. What more could you ask for? When you sit next to we were sitting next to some professional athletes, ex-professional athletes, and one thing we noticed was, like, think about it. These individuals are ex multimillionaires, meaning in their former career life, and now they're looking to expand, and why not? So you see, there's massive opportunity for growth for many different people to invest in certain sectors that they never had their hands on. So really exciting. We look forward to connecting with you. Make it a point to have integrity. Make sure the deals work. Make sure business is working out for you. Do your market research. Alrighty, alrighty, alright. What else happened on the Wealth Tour? You meet so many people, you learn how to smooth better. You got to practice being successful. You have to practice being around billionaires. So many people don't practice being around billionaires. Do you practice being around billionaires? That's the question. The Private Wealth Tour says you are going to practice that because you're around them. When you're around them, you just do business with them eventually. So we were talking to some, once again, advisors in The one thing we can say is we have a stellar advisory board. A lot of people in trusteeship, they think they're going to do it all by themselves, and they didn't, and they don't. So things are going to happen, and things have happened, things are happening. It's important for us to continuously do our best to put best practices in place. All about putting good deals in front of investors. So definitely looking forward to hearing from that conversation, and look forward to hearing from you all, getting a consultation so you can move forward with your family estate, as we've helped with many other family estates. And once again, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Looking forward to hearing from you all. We are going to do another brief on the private wealth tour. I just wanted to give you a quick appetizer. Look forward to hearing from you. Peace and joy.